Okay, we're back. Little technical difficulties there. Hopefully, this is going to be better. So, welcome. We're going to do a warm up today. We're going to do a warm up based on my book that came out last summer. It's a book called Get Ready. Feel free to drop questions in the chat as we go along. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, and so I'm hoping that this is working better. Now, obviously, this is a work in progress, trying to get things sorted out here. I appreciate warm up your today. Patience we're going to do in all these things. So I know I keep starting and stopping the stream here, so it's kind of a crazy time. But we're going to play through the whole thing. This is the book. If you haven't seen it before, you can get a copy on my website, a PDF, a real copy, whatever you want. I'm going to explain the exercises as we go through them, and then we'll post this later. And so hopefully it'll be a useful tool for some people. So feel free to drop in some questions. I'll be happy to field those questions as we go through this little situation here. So we're kind of streaming into a Zoom meeting, and this seems to be working better. I'm going to also do maybe try to, once I figure this out, figure out how to do a little tutorial to help people so hopefully with their own. So, okay, I see a couple people saying it sounds good, so I'm going to get going here. So I've got the chats open on Instagram and Facebook, so if you got any questions, feel free to drop them in. Hopefully they keep on going without any problems, but you never know. It's a work in progress, and that's that. So the first exercise is a long tone exercise. I've only played a little bit today, so I'm going to be doing this a real-time warm-up with everybody, and it's just an F. Now, it might seem like crazy how long this F is, but I find that people don't take enough time to really zone in on their sound concept, and really playing a long tone. So this track is, I can tell you, it's 2 minutes and 18 seconds, and it's all this long tone. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to put these headphones on so I can hear myself, I can hear the backing track, and hopefully all of you can hear all of this stuff. So this is going to be a test of the audio. Yeah, I hear it. Great. So this is what we're going to do. So get your horn. We're going to play a long tone F. It's going to be for 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And that's going through a whole series of counterpoint exercises. So we're playing note against note counterpoint. And then after that, we're going to be playing against some chords. So try to adjust your F to fit in with whatever chords we're hearing. So that's going to be, and first let's start with just an F, and then it's going to be a C and B flat. So we're doing perfect intervals and then non-perfect intervals. So just make the adjustments accordingly. So I'm just going to shrink this a little bit so I can see the chat. And here we go. So here we go, starting up with the Get Ready warm up. Hopefully you guys can play along now or later. So here we go. This is number one, a very long tone. So before we jump into the next exercise, I'm just going to look, see if there's any questions, comments. Feel free to drop them in. That was a really long tone, and yes, it's just a really long tone. We're tuning it against different pitches, different chords, and just really trying to dig deep into it and play a real long tone. You can do the same thing with other notes, B flat, etc. And it's just really trying to get things moving. So getting the air moving and the sound production happening, all of that stuff. So now we're going to move on to the next exercise, which is long tones with motion. That's how I think about flexibility. So instead of saying, oh, flexibility and doing a whole bunch of different flexibility exercises, I've kind of condensed it a little bit into this two-part exercise where we're going to go out from the middle, and that's what it's called. We go F, B flat, F, B flat, F, and then we go down in half steps to E, and then it restarts and we come back up. It's all in half notes, and so everybody should approach this like a long tone, except it has motion, meaning has a full sound. We're smoothly connecting the chords together, the notes together, excuse me, and you're just striving for a beautiful sound. So here we go. This one is called Work Out from the Middle. We're going to start on the concert F, and it goes up first and then down. So play along if you can. Here we go. Cool. So that's the first flexibility exercise. So in this warm-up routine, it's not necessarily going to hit every single thing. You're not going to do a whole bunch of different flexibilities. We're kind of moving through a whole bunch of stuff kind of quickly. And the goal of this exercise is to get you warmed up in 20 minutes. And so we're going to move on from flexibility to a combination of flexibility and pitch bends. So pitch bends are your friends, as the exercise actually says. So what we're going to do is practice whole step and half step pitch bends while doing a flexibility exercise. So it's a combination of the two. So why do pitch bends? Well, I think pitch bends are important because it helps you to control your aperture, and it helps you to control the pitch with your ears, not just your slide, and not just relying on the instrument to do it. You're actually creating the intonation yourself. So what we're going to do in this exercise is we're going to match up what we're playing with the pitch bend. So the exercise is going to go B flat partial, F partial, high B flat partial, all the way down first to seventh. But we're going to do a whole step, so you'll hear. that makes sense. So we're going to play the note, and then we're going to pitch bend to the note, and then go back to the original. So one time to give us reference, one time to do the bend, and then back to the original pitch. And we're going to do the whole thing. It's going to go from whole step, and then on that upper high B flat, it's going to be just a half step because it's a little more challenging to actually bend that pitch. So we're just going to bend a half step. So that's like. So if you're having trouble doing the bend, feel free to just do a half step bend in the low register, or even less. Just do as much as you can. The more you do it, the easier it's going to be. We're going to play through this exercise. So hopefully if you're joining in, you can also play along with us. If you want to find the play alongs, they're on Spotify. Just search Professor Finzer and you'll find a couple of books worth of exercises there. But here, live, feel free to drop anything in the chat you guys are thinking about in terms of these exercises. Happy to answer some questions there. And yeah, so here we go. This one's called Pitch Bends Are Your Friends. We're going to start on B flat. We're going to do the whole step, F partial whole step, high B flat partial half step. So here we go. We have the pitch bends. That's our first pitch bend exercise in the middle register. And now we're going to move to a pitch bend exercise that's in the lower register. Let's see. So that was pitch bends. Pitch bends are your friend, and now we're moving to pitch bends and false tones. So if you noticed, as we got down to the low register, those notes end up being false notes. The low D, the low E flat, those are all false tones. So I like to play them all the way out in seventh. You can, or you can play them in the various positions that people can tell you about, like playing E flat and flat third, flat fourth for D, flat fifth for D flat, etc. But I like to do it both ways. I like to have some variety and stretch my chops to be able to do it in multiple positions. So the next exercise, pitch bends and false tones. We're starting in B flat, our home key, and we're going to play this. Think about scale degrees. We go 5, 6, 5, bend down to 4, the back up to 5, 3, 1. This is just kind of an exercise I'm sure you've heard somewhat similar before. It sounds like this. Okay, but the play along goes down chromatically until we go a full octave down. So that's going to involve a bunch of false tones. On the PDF, I kind of indicated where a lot of the false tones are, but you can kind of experiment and figure out where you want to use triggers if you have triggers, but I prefer to use all false tones just because it's, again, just helping to develop the aperture, control of the aperture, control of the air, and make sure that, you know, we're getting good intonation on all those. So thanks for being here. You feel free to play along if you're so inclined, or save this for later when you want to go through a new warm-up routine. But this one's about 2 minutes, and so I'll see you on the other side of that. Please leave in any questions, comments, etc. in the chats on Facebook or Instagram. But here we go. So pitch bends and false tones. So you might have noticed I did that B flat as a false tone all the way out in seventh position. That's something I got from Elliot Mason. He talks about doing some of those type of things, playing the false tone pedal tones. And anyway, so that's something I'm trying to work on as well. As you could hear, I'm definitely still warming up as well. Hopefully some of this noise isn't too loud. There's some people restriping the road just outside on the other side of this wall. Okay, so there's our fundamental sound and flexibility. I like to think about three things: sound, flexibility, and articulation is like the big three things that I want to warm up, the big three things that I want to be able to do when I'm improvising, when I'm playing other stuff. So that's what I focus on in my warm-up routine, is doing long tones, getting the sound activated, then doing flexibility, which for me involves lip slurs and those pitch bends. Putting them together for me is a good way. So that's why I do that. And then moving from here, we move into a little bit of the articulation section. So in this section, you may find that the play-alongs are a little bit fast. In the book, if you can see this, I'll hold it up. I talk a little bit about three types of articulation. We have the three types of jazz articulation. We have staccato, ta 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 ta. We have legato, da 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 da. But then, really, what we want to be doing when we're improvising is somewhere in the middle. Steve Turre, I'm going to borrow one of his sayings, and that's staccato. So, with staccato, we want to be in the middle. We want the clear front attack, the body of a legato note, but the separation that happens when we have staccato. So that's the articulation that I'm going to use when we play these exercises, or I'm going to strive to use. But you could do these staccato, you could do them legato, you could switch it up depending on the day, and just to keep yourself some variety. And yeah, so this might be a little fast, so feel free to use it with a metronome instead of the play along if that's the case for you. It just, it could be just a little bit too fast for you right now. I got a message the other day for someone saying, is it bad that I'm doing this with double tongue? And for me, I don't necessarily think it's bad, but the goal is to wake up the single tongue, not the double tongue. We're not practicing double tongue here in our warm-up. At least that's not something that I do. So here we go. First of 2 articulation focused exercises. And this one's going to be called Wake Up. Move this. Okay. All right, here we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. Here's Wake Up. Okay, so what you noticed there was I was freaking out a little bit because I forgot to turn off the monitoring of my microphone, so it was slightly off from what you guys were hearing. So I'm going to turn that off. Nope, that's not what I'm going to turn off. Okay, I don't know how to change it. I'm not going to fix it right now, but it was hopefully it's coming for you guys clearly lined up. So I know I forgot to go through the exercise before we did it, but I'm sure you got it. It's a very simple exercise. Again, you can use legato, you can use staccato, and our magic staccato exercise. I see Trenton Barnes. Hello, hello. Thanks for dropping in. He's just watching us warm up today. Let's see. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and move to the next exercise. The next exercise is called Push the Limit, and it's really going to be maybe one of the more challenging exercises here. Again, the play along might be a little bit too fast for you. Again, we want to practice the single tongue, and we really want to push ourselves to get to this tempo really cleanly. So, all right, so what's going to happen here is we're going to play basically 10 notes of the root of a major scale. So in this case, we're going to start on low E and go up chromatically. So we're going to do. We got 2 beats, up a half step, bang. All right, but by this point in the warm up, I can know people are starting to drift. Their attention spans are starting to drift. They're not necessarily as engaged as they might have been at the beginning. So there's some loops thrown in there. It doesn't go up exclusively by half steps. I'll tell you, if you're just following along and playing along, that it goes from G to A. There's no A flat. So you might want to just keep that in mind as you're watching through this, playing through this. And it's going to go up all the way from low E in half steps all the way to high D. So that might be a little high for you, but we're going to do it today, and hopefully I can do it. And then you can work on doing this slower with a metronome and eventually being able to work it up to this speed. So this is just an example. So hopefully what I'm going to be able to do, I can't edit this now. Okay, so we're just going to do it. It's going to be a little off for me, and I'll do my best to stay with the play along, but you should get the idea. We're going to play through this. It's called Push the Limit, and we're going to start on low E, 16th notes. 10 notes, go up an octave and back down. All right, and then we go to the next key. Starting on E, and watch out, we're going to skip A flat just to keep you on your toes. All right, give me 1 second and we'll get started here. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. Push the limit. I need my trombone to do this. All right. Whoops, false start. Let's do that again. I gotta hear the count off. All right, here we go. Don't fall asleep. Ooh, yeah, that's a hard one. All right, so we're taking a pause for just a moment after that one. So now the rest of the warm-up is going to move a lot faster. I know people can focus at the beginning and then need to move quickly at the end. So the next are all less than a minute, all of the rest of these tracks. So we're moving into two more areas here. We're moving into the area of pedal notes, and then we're moving into the area of more flexibility just to get ready, just to get warmed up. So thanks for being here. Feel free to drop in some comments, some questions on the routine. Again, it's called Get Ready. You can get a PDF or a hard copy book on my website. It's pretty straightforward to find it from there. Just go to the website and click store, so you can find it there. It's called Get Ready, and you can find it also on Amazon. All right, so the next exercise is called, flipping the pages, pedal note fun. We're just basically touching and opening up the register, the pedal note register. We're going to go low B flat in the staff, down to the pedal note, back up to to B flat, B, bo, 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 B, B, bo, B, bo, bo. Back to the pedal. Here, I'll play it for you. It's better than my singing here, so it's like. Oh, I can see this microphone can't really handle those pedal notes, but what are we going to do? We already started the live stream. Mark, thanks so much. Glad you're enjoying it. Appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to do this exercise. It goes down a half step, starts in first, all the way out to seventh. And so just do your best. Bear with the sound on these pedal notes. I think it's going to kind of rattle the microphone inside of its casing, but that's all right. So here we go. There's this pedal note fun, not too fast, and it's just about 52 seconds long. So here we go. I need to work on my pedal notes too. Whoops, don't jump ahead on me here. Okay, so obviously you need to really focus on being able to open up the inside of your mouth, which I was not doing, to get that quick shift. Right, so I can do it out of context apparently, but make sure you're opening the inside of your mouth. Da, oh. I think like oh for those. Da, oh, I'm singing the wrong notes, but you get the idea. All right, so that's pedal note one. Now pedal note two is combining pedal register and articulation. These are challenging, especially you get into the longer positions. They're a little tough, but we're just going to play a bar of half notes, a bar of quarter notes, and then 4/8 notes and end. So it's three bars of each note. So it'll be like half note, quarters, 2, 3, 4, now eighths, down a half step, A, okay? And this is, again, just like a 1 minute quick exercise, bing, bang, bang. As we're moving through this, just a few more to go here. I'm really glad you could tune in this afternoon, this morning, wherever you're at. So here we go. Here, this is pedal tone exercise number 2. still working on getting the fullness and fullness and resonance on the low F, the low E. I can tell they're not really happening yet today. One other variation that I do on this one already that I've come up with is to go add 4 more eighth notes to the end of it. So instead of ending on a half note, we'd end with a whole bar of eighth notes. So it'd be like, excuse me. And then you breathe there rather than in between. Either way, I think is okay. And like I said, like I wrote in the foreword of the book, like this is not the end all be all of trombone warm-ups. This is just a warm-up that hits a lot of things. It happens to get me ready to play jazz stuff primarily, hitting different registers, hitting articulation and flexibility. But it's also challenging to me, and it's putting me in uncomfortable positions like this, where I'm playing something for you guys that I definitely am not super strong at yet. And that's why I included in this. I want to try to get better, just like all of you. So, all right. Now, the last section of the book. This could also be pretty challenging if you are not used to doing flexibility in this way. So I went back to flexibility to kind of finish this off. And also it's going to push into the upper register a little bit, getting the upper register open. We haven't gotten that way yet. So for variety, I started doing flexibilities that involve intervals rather than using the harmonic series on the horn. And so to do that, I just pick perfect fourths or perfect fifths and then adjust the positions accordingly. So what I mean is this. So if we start in first position and go up in fourths, you can go like this. Now, if you analyze those notes, you'll find that we're in G flat major, and the top note is the root, and the bottom note is the third. All right, that's a G flat major. Now, so what we're going to do is a pattern that sounds like this. So it's just not up and down. It adds a little bit of variety to it. Now, keep in mind, I threw in some curveballs here because I don't want people to just go through this and not even like think, even if you've done it 100 times, you got to keep, some bit of thought happening. And that is, we're going to repeat a few of these just because, number one, they're using alternate positions and they're a little hard to tune. So as we go down in half steps, when we get to the key of D major, we're going to play that one 3 times. We're going to play D major 3 times because we're going to 7th position. We're using 6th position E's and A's. So it's a little out of tune most of the time. So it'll give you a chance to actually tune it with the backing track. And if I didn't mention this before, the backing tracks were put together by a good friend of mine, a composer and bass player named Matthew Golumbisky. He lives down in Argentina, and he's involved in the Institute for Creative Music that I started with my friend Chris Teal a number of years ago. So here we go. I'm going to play through this now. So it starts in G flat, which is B flat as the third and the lowest note, and goes down in half steps. All right. So obviously the lowest one is going to be E because I'm playing a straight tenor. So that's C major. We're ending at C major, and we're going to go right on from there to part 2 of the exercise. I'm going to let the play along play 2 tracks, and then it goes back to B flat and it goes up in half steps. All right. And the same thing when we get to, let's see, A major. We're going to play that one twice. I know you're not going to remember. I'll try to call it out as we go, but we're going to do that. And it goes up to C major as well. So we go down a tritone, go back to where we started, which is B flat, and go up in half steps, a tritone. All right. So here we go. This one's called, what is this one called? Flexibility with Fourths 1. Not a very creative title, but here we go. So there's fourths. Now, obviously, the next thing is fifths. So we're going to do fifths. Let's see. Fifths. That's the next page in the book. So really creatively titled Flexibility with Fifths. So we do the same thing, except it's not organized in fourths, but fifths. And this time, instead of starting from the bottom, we're going to switch it up a little bit. And it sounds like this. And this time, if you stack fifths, it ends up being more or less like a pentatonic kind of scale sound. It doesn't have the third, but I think of it kind of like a pentatonic sound with the third. But if you went up one more, you would get that D. So it was not. It's not part of the exercise, but it would be. You could add it in your own variation of the exercise to get the third. But here we're going to go down in half steps again to low E, to seventh position. And then we're going to jump up to where we started again and go up a tritone again in half steps. No repeats here. This is the last exercise in the book, the last play along. So we'll check in right after that. But here we go. So flexibility with fifths number 2. Okay. Oops, it jumped on me. Whoops. Okay, wait a minute. Here's flexibility with fifths number 1. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Spotify just glitched out on me. Here we go. We go to part 2. Now it's jumping back to the top on Spotify, because on Spotify there's a version of me playing along with all this stuff. What's up, Matt Hall? Thanks for being here. Sorry you had to listen to me crack some notes there. But if you want to hear a better version of me playing through those, there's examples in the Spotify play along area. The first half of it is just the play alongs. The second is with me playing as well, so you can kind of get an idea of the exercises. But with that one, the trick to getting is smoothness between those fifth intervals is to definitely think about the vowel shape on the inside of your mouth. Ah, you can't sing that note, so I won't sing it for you. But so some of these exercises are going to challenge you, and that's good. And some of them will be easy, and that's also good because we want to warm up here. We're trying to get everything happening. All right, so if you just play that straight through, it would have been 20 minutes. Obviously, it took us almost an hour today because I was talking and checking with cameras and microphones and all this stuff. But I'm glad you could all tune in. Again, the book is called Get Set, and I'm sorry, Get Set is the new Etude book. This is Get Ready. If you notice, there's a theme to all my books. There's Get Ahead, Get Ready, Get Set. So now the next one has to be something to do with go, right? But yeah, that's it. That's today's warm-up session. I'm glad you could tune in. Hopefully this will be posted. Hopefully the good people through the internet of streaming made this magic work the first time. Otherwise, I'll make some adjustments before next week. Next week, same time, same place, we're going to play some tunes. So I'm hoping I'm going to get the iRealB set up, and we'll do some trading. So we'll try to, it can be for anyone, obviously. We'll play the head, and then we'll be, Remy LaBeouf. Yes, trombone is the best. I agree. But yeah, next week we're going to do some trading. We'll play some tunes. I haven't decided what the tunes are, but we'll probably do some pretty common tunes. Maybe It Could Happen to You, and some blues and some rhythm changes, just so that as many people as possible can tune in and can play along. So basically what you will expect is like we'll play the head together, and then we'll trade choruses, trade eights, some stuff like that. So to kind of simulate maybe a live lesson or something like that. But hopefully it'll give people a little bit of fun playing jazz during the day, during the week. But I'm so glad you could be here. Again, that was Get Ready. I call it a focused routine. Trenton wants to play epistrophe next week. Maybe we'll play epistrophe. Only if he does a good job in his lesson. So make sure to tell Trenton to learn epistrophe. So we'll be back next week with some playing, some tune trading, and then after that, who knows? This is a little bit of an experiment. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. And that's a good suggestion. Have you met Miss Jones? I like that. And maybe some others. Yeah, send me some tunes that you want to play, and I'll get a playlist put together so everyone can be prepared. Great. So I'll let everybody go. I got an appointment in 5 minutes, so I'm going to jump off, but I'm so glad you could all be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.